Hello everybody, this is Bonita, design team member for J&S Hobbies and Crafts. I'm here to get started on our next project, which is the circus. This has a lot going on for us, and just to remind you, we're going to be making 2 micro mini albums, 1 regular album, and a train for those micro albums to set in. So let's get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about before we get your cutting paper layout is what we need to create for the albums. Okay, so first of all, we are going to go ahead and we're going to build our album covers. So we need to build 2 micro mini ones, and then we need to build 1 bigger one for our bigger album. So I'm going to give you the measurements, but what I wanted to do is actually walk you through the micro mini one, only because I did it just a tad bit different. So first of all, on the micro mini, you'll need chipboard for the front and back cover, which is 4 inches by 4 and a quarter. And the 4 1/4 is the height, by the way. And then your spine is going to be 2.5 inches by 4 1/4. And then I actually used a 12-inch piece of black cardstock for my cover, and that's what I want to talk to you about. So I used 12-inch by 5 1/4 inch. And what happens is it only gives you about a 1/2 inch all the way around, as opposed to what we normally have is 1 inch. Now, if you feel uncomfortable with that, you can go ahead and use 2 different pieces to create a bigger piece, but this works just fine on this smaller album. And what I wanted to show you is that when you have just a little over 1/2 inch on your outside edges, I used just 3/8 inch tape, and I actually just lined it on just the paper right there. Okay? So I put these pieces down just like my basic tutorial on that is, and instead of I put no score tape right on the inside of this because it's just, there's not very much there. So again, this is 3/8 inch tape, but I just wanted to walk you through how nice that actually just works. So I'm just going to lift my tape up, and I'm just going to maneuver that over, and because it's through, just a 1/2 inch, truly that worked just fine. Okay, when you use the inch, when you have 1 inch all the way around, then obviously you want to use score tape on here and then score tape on your chipboard. But with this small one, just do again the 12 by 5 1/4 gives you about a 1/2 inch all the way around, and then just use 3/8 inch tape to put it all together. Okay, so then of course you're going to need your Tyvek, and this Tyvek for the small baby album is just 1 inch wide by 3 1/4, and those will get laid down. And then our black cardstock that we need to cover that Tyvek is just 1.5 by 3 1/2. It's just going to cover that up. Okay, so again, creating the album cover for the micros is exactly the same as the big ones. I just wanted to show you that so you don't panic when you're like, oh my gosh, I only have 1/2 inch. But that works just beautiful. So this will be about the size of our micro minis, and you'll need 2 of those. Okay, and then we need to make, excuse me, gosh, before I even forget, what's also different about this micro mini is our little binding strips that we use. This is very, very, very basic binding strips. You're going to cut a piece of cardstock 1 1/8 by 4. Yes, that's correct, 1 1/8 by 4 inches. And all you're going to do on this is you're going to put it on your scoreboard, and you're going to score 3/8 of an inch on this side, and then you're going to turn it and do 3/8 of an inch on this side. So you're still going to form a U just like you normally would, but there's going to be no extra folds. So that's it. Okay, once again, this is 1 1/8 inches wide. Score 3/8 inch, turn, 3/8 inch, turn. That leaves you a 1/2 inch right here, and that just gives you a baby U shape. And I will show you how we're going to put this album together towards when we get that part in the tutorial, but that's just what I need you to create. Now, the other thing that we're going to need in the micro mini is a mini waterfall, and I'll give you the measurements for that as well. It's just very, very, very small, and you'll have 3 1/4 inch by 4 1/2 strip to start with, and so I'll just lay out the measurements on here for the waterfall. Okay, now on the big album, Okay, so I've already covered this. Again, watch my Bonita's Basic tutorial if you're not sure how to do this. And so for this one, your chipboard, you need 2 pieces, 7 1/4 by 9. And I do apologize. I think on my reveal, I said you'd need 2 pieces of chipboard. But if you want to make all 3 of these, you will need 3 pieces of chipboard. So 7 1/4 by 9. Your spine is 2 1/2 by 9. Your Tyvek strips will be 1 by 8. And your the covering of the cardstock will be 1 1/2 by 8 1/4. And you can see that I've already got that in there. Okay. We are also going to need to make our typical binding strips. And on this one, we're going to make them just as normal. And your binding strips are going to be cut at 4 1/2 by 8 1/2, and you're going to score in half-inch increments. Again, watch my Bonita's Basic if you're unsure how to do this, and you will only need 2 for this album because this album only has 8 pages. But don't fret. This still has a lot of stuff going on. So again, these will be 4 1/2 by 8 1/2. You'll score at half-inch increments, turn half-inch increments, and then you'll create those and watch my Bonita's Basic. We'll also need a waterfall for this one, and it's my traditional waterfall. That's going to have the really fun stuff going on. And again, the basics for that is you're going to need your base, which is 6 1/8 by 8 1/2 is what we're going to start at. And then you'll need 7 flaps that are 6 1/8 by 5 1/4. And you'll score at the half-inch with your flaps. Again, watch Bonita's Basics and on the waterfall, and it will walk you through how to put that together. So go ahead and get all those things made. Again, you'll need 2 micro mini covers, and you will need your binding strips for your micro mini, and you need 3 for each one. We'll make this big cover, 2 binding strips, and 1 large waterfall for this. And again, on the waterfall for the small one, I put the instructions on there, and it's just really, really, really small. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is our cutout, our cutting of our decorative paper. And so again, there is quite a bit of cutouts because there's a lot of stuff going on in here. There's also 3 pages in that cutout that you're going to use for the train. So set those 3 pieces aside when you come to them, because right after this will be the train tutorial, and it's going to tell you how to cut those pages out. So there you go. So we've got a lot coming for you, so I'm super excited. So good luck, and I can't wait to join you again.